Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to Sweetwater Soundcheck. We've got something brand new for you from PreSonus from Winter NAMM 2020. This is the Quantum 2626. We're with Rick Knockvey. Great to see you, man.
Great to see you.
So, PreSonus obviously has been making audio interfaces for a long time, and we were chatting about this earlier, and what I like about it is you've kind of brought together all that experience and all those ideas and nice little touches into one unit.
Well, yes, and actually 2020 will be our 25th anniversary as PreSonus.
Nice.
And this interface is really special to me personally because it is kind of the new version of a product that we made back in 15 years ago in 2005, 2006, called the FirePod, which was the first interface that had 8 mic pre's on the front panel. And so basically the Quantum 2626 is sort of like the 2020 version of the FirePod FP10.
Nice.
So it's on the Thunderbolt 3 platform, so it's absolutely the fastest transport as far as getting audio into and out of the computer. And it's just got a bunch of really cool pro features for any recording musician, a band, or anybody that just wants to record with extremely low latency.
Right. So you mentioned that. You mentioned that very fast data transfer. Does that affect the latency, or what is the latency for the 2626?
Well, this is really amazing. So, when we released the Quantum line, we were in a shootout with Sound on Sound magazine, had measured various interfaces, and the Quantum came in as the fastest Thunderbolt interface at the time. So this interface now on Thunderbolt 3 will get round-trip latency of below 1 millisecond.
Wow, so basically no latency.
Yeah, I mean, undetectable by the human ear, basically, and especially if you're on a, pretty modern computer.
Right.
It has Mac and PC drivers, so it'll work equally as well on Windows as well as Mac. And there's some really cool stuff. So let's take a look at the front panel.
Let's do it.
On the front panel, you've got your 8 Class A XMAX mic preamp inputs, and these are on dual Neutrik combo connectors. Channels 1 and 2 on the 1/4 inch have instrument level, and 3 through 8 have line level input. And then, of course, you've got phantom power for channels 1 through 4 and 5 through 8 on these 2 buttons. Next, you have your mic pre gains for all 8 mic preamps. You've got a big master volume knob for your studio monitors and 2 headphone jacks on the front panel. So on the back panel, we've got a couple of tricks up our sleeve. So one of the coolest things is on channels 1 and 2, you have the ability to insert your favorite outboard analog gear with a true balanced audio path. So you've got balanced send and return jacks for channels 1 and 2 right here. Right. And the other thing that's cool is that if you had an external mic preamp that you wanted to bring in on channels 1 and 2, you can go straight in through the line input or the return and bypass the mic pre that's built in. Next, you have 8 analog balanced outputs, and these are also DC coupled outputs. So you can use these to send control voltage for analog synths and that kind of a thing.
Nice.
Then you have your main left and right outputs, and these will feed your studio monitors. Next, you have MIDI in and out, a SPDIF in and out, and then 16 channels of ADAT optical input and output, so you can patch in external mic preamp or external A to D, D to A converter, like our Digimax DP88. This is a great expander for this. And then lastly, you've got B and C connectors, inputs and outputs, and then the Thunderbolt 3 jack right here that'll go into your PC or Mac.
So my favorite feature, I think, is that you have actually balanced send and return. Most interfaces, when they give you an insert, it's an unbalanced insert. Use a Y cable or whatever to connect, which is fine, but if you're working with pro external hardware, then you really need to have those balanced connections to get the most out of it.
That's right. And a lot of people say, oh, well, I'll just use a plug-in after the fact, a plug-in compressor, and you can do that. But the beauty of having analog inserts and balanced inserts for that matter is that your favorite brand of compressor or EQ that you might have in the analog domain, you can have that process the signal before you hit the A to D converter.
Right.
And that's truly the best way to go.
Yeah, I typically like to do that. If I'm tracking a vocal or tracking a bass, something like that, I like to run through a hardware compressor. Just because, for one thing, it's controlling the dynamics, but it also gives you a little bit of a ceiling, a little bit of protection from overs.
That's right. And you get a little bit of that analog vibe on the front end. The last component that you get with the Quantum 2626 is this bundled software. So we have Studio One Artist for Mac and PC that comes free with it. And this is a full-on DAW that supports, automation, MIDI, comes with tons of instruments and loops and sounds. It's also, of course, compatible with any other DAW, so if you're using Pro Tools, Logic, Cubase, Ableton, whatever, we support all of those. We also have the Studio Magic bundled set of plugins, instruments, and loops and samples. So this gives you over $600 worth of plugins from great manufacturers like Plugin Alliance, Brainworks, Klanghelm, Lexicon, Output, just tons of other manufacturers. And these are really, really great plugins that can be used in Studio One Artist or any other DAW.
So I have a question for you, actually. Thunderbolt 3 connection on this, but like my computer, I'm using an antique computer, it still has Thunderbolt 2 on it. Is this backward compatible?
Absolutely, and not only is it backward compatible, it's fully compatible with the whole family of Quantum interfaces. So if you already own a Quantum, you can add a Quantum 2626 to it, and just like all of the Quantum interfaces, you can do up to 4 Quantum interfaces daisy-chained together, and that'll just give you additional input capability.
Nice. Nice. So Rick, what I see as one of the really strongest features of this is having those mic connections and inputs on the front panel. Because like in my studio, when I install an interface, I don't want to be reaching behind the rack to plug a microphone in to get to stuff. I want to just plug right in. Having those connections right on the front is really handy.
It is. You've got all your controls on the front panel, you've got all of your inputs on the front panel, and then you still have the expandability through ADAT light pipe or through daisy chaining with another Quantum interface. So it really is a great interface for somebody that wants that next level professional sound quality, full sample rate, and just crazy low latency. Going back to the latency thing, you know, we really believe that computers have gotten so fast now that, you know, you've got so many plugins available, but when you're talking about having a round trip latency of less than a millisecond, you can track with your favorite plugin of any manufacturer in real time, especially if you're a guitar player like you are, and you want to, you know, play with your favorite guitar simulation plugin. Of course, you get Ampire with Studio One Artist.
Right.
And so, you know, but I mean, when you're talking about a round trip latency of, you know, a millisecond or 2 milliseconds, I mean, it feels great. Same thing with being a keyboard player. If you're using virtual instruments, having that kind of latency really affects the feel, and it just feels so much better.
Right, right. Absolutely a wonderful way to work. And I would have to say a great way to celebrate 25th anniversary of PreSonus.
Absolutely. This is a monumental interface on our 25th anniversary.
Awesome,
so,
man. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Great to see you. I appreciate you taking time to stop by and show this to us.
Thank you, guys.
And thank you for joining me here for Sweetwater Soundcheck. I'm Mitch Gallagher from Sweetwater. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. For more videos like this, click here. Or start at Sweetwater for all your music instruments and pro audio needs.